Do you remember recess? TJ and all those other kids who used to hang out at 3rd Street Elementary School.
I just can't believe it's not the 90s anymore.
I'm guaranteeing that you don't remember when this man tried to turn the whole place into a Nazi concentration camp.
Gilda, this weapon is full of cement. See that it's cleaned out and made operational.
Why the hell does a school need a functioning cannon? Look me in the eye and give me one good reason that it does. Because the new principal's a Nazi. That's why.
What you doing? Stuff?
Yes.
Nazi stuff?
I'd like you to meet Dr. Slicer. He bears somewhat of a resemblance to a certain member of Adolf Hitler's authoritarian regime, don't you think? But here's the thing, it's way more than just a coincidence. So, how the hell did 3rd Street Elementary School end up hiring a Nazi as their principal? What happened to Mr. Prickley? Well, truth is, old Dr. Slicer didn't last too long in the Recess universe. Just the one episode, actually. In the episode Prickley is leaving, Mr. Prickley has had enough. He decides to leave the school and take up his dream job of being a middle school principal. Weird dream, but okay. And that leaves a vacancy at 3rd Street. This vacancy is jumped upon by our favourite Heinrich Himmler stunt double. At least, he's well qualified for the part.
Is Dr. Slicer. I have a PhD in discipline with a minor in punishment. Do not forget it.
I think he's forgetting his master's degree in fascism.
Bist du faschistisch?
The car that Dr. Slicer arrives in bears more than a passing resemblance to a Mercedes 770, also known as the Grosser Mercedes. This was a large luxury car built in Germany from 1930 until 1944. Those dates ring a bell. I wonder why. It was used by high-ranking officials of the Nazi Party, and you don't get much higher ranking than Adolf Hitler, Hermann Goering, and of course, the subject of our video, Heinrich Himmler. It is also revealed that, as a youngster, Dr. Slicer was bullied at school, ending up with scars down his face due to an incident involving electromagnetism.
It was a funny boy who gave me this scar. How, you ask?
I want to know how I got these scars.
Let's just say electromagnets were involved.
Guess who else had a traumatic upbringing? Yes, Heinrich Himmler. He was described as being sickly, physically weak, and a loner, and this combination of factors meant that Himmler was rejected from the army when he was a teenager. Himmler instead turned to paramilitary groups, joining an anti-Semitic group in 1922. The rest is, unfortunately, history. Regarding Dr. Slicer's character traits, there is one incident between TJ and the newly hired principal that is particularly telling. Dr. Slicer mocks TJ for having the gall to show affection for his predecessor, Mr. Prickley. And this is interesting because it mirrors exactly what we know about the personality of Heinrich Himmler.
When I begin my duties here on Monday, there will be no sappiness. Sappiness makes you soft, like Miss Finster here. Finster, henceforth, Gilda is in charge of the playground. You will be her assistant.
Himmler is described as mobilizing the SS, the paramilitary force of the Nazis and their main instrument of terror, against love, against pity, and against humility. Instead, the monstrous Himmler celebrated hardness and self-discipline. You can bet your bottom dollar that Heinrich Himmler would have reacted the same way to TJ's affectionate statement as Dr. Slicer did. Make no mistake about it. You cannot overlook the whole tone of the episode, as Dr. Slicer attempts to turn 3rd Street Elementary School into a military camp. You have the straight lines of students, lined up like an army.
This is it, guys. Today's the day.
The end of life as we know it.
Which hat am I supposed to wear? He didn't say which hat I'm supposed to wear.
You have the forensic level of detail, more akin to a military base than a mere elementary school.
Compound needs a new coat of paint. Hedges there, and there require trimming. They obscure the northeast and southeast approaches to the main entrance, leaving it vulnerable. Overall impression. Could use more discipline.
You have the absolute obsession with regulations and with appearances, and they've got to be absolutely perfect or it's subpar.
The new principal's here, and boy, does he have big plans for this place. School uniforms, regulation haircuts, and get this, he's tearing down the jungle gym and putting in a guard tower.
And most bizarrely of all, you even have the armament of the school itself.
Gilda, this weapon is full of cement. See that it's cleaned out and made operational.
A long trench coat was a part of the SS uniform, and you can see it modelled here by Dr. Slicer and Heinrich Himmler. This might seem like a reach, I get that. But remember, The Recess is a kids' TV show, and it's likely that given all the other references, the writers may have thought that any other direct references to Nazi insignia or symbology would have been too on the nose. And, in my opinion, wisely so. Maybe, I don't know, maybe this is all just one giant coincidence.
Oh god, I'm even boring when I'm a Nazi.
But this line from Miss Finster, teaching assistant extraordinaire and playground supervisor, says otherwise. To give some context to this clip, Miss Finster is absolutely devastated that her beloved Mr. Prickley is leaving the school. She therefore turns to a metaphor to illustrate the depths of this devastation.
It's a crushing blow. My own personal Hindenburg.
What does Miss Finster mean when she calls Prickley leaving her own personal Hindenburg? Would it surprise you to learn that the Hindenburg was an airship that happened to be the largest dirigible ever built and was the pride of, you guessed it, Nazi Germany? The LZ-129 Hindenburg burst into flames upon touching its mooring mast in Lakehurst, New Jersey. This tragically killed 36 passengers and crewmates on the 6th of May, 1937. The writers could have chosen any disastrous event in world history to help Miss Finster illustrate her point. Just thinking off the top of my head, the Titanic is a pretty well-known disaster involving humans dying and feeling pretty damn devastated. Yet, they opted for Hindenburg. An airship synonymous with the Nazis, what with it being their creation and all. The writers just seem to have Nazi Germany on the brain during this episode. Make no mistake, overall this is a casual appropriation of one of the biggest monsters in our recent history for the purposes of a kids' TV show. Par for the course perhaps in 1999, but you can't help but think that there'd be more uproar if such a character was introduced into a children's TV program nowadays. The fact that Dr. Slicer appears in only one Recess episode means that his character, and indeed the shocking symbology within the episode, has largely been forgotten in the 25 years since the episode was released. Not by me though. Smash subscribe to show your support for Mr. Prickley. Smash that like button if you think that Recess should really be making a comeback right about now. Come on Disney, what are you waiting for?
What the hell are you waiting for?